pretty fatal in this game. Not this, that's very lame Minecraft. But feel free to try this in single player. Do not do this on a multiplayer server. Please don't, otherwise they'll blame me for this. Grab yourself a command block and then place it down. Now we'll do more testing with this on Twitch tonight, as I'm currently live at Snapshot Day. But I'm pretty sure this will work with things other than command blocks. Anything that can store data in the game. Go onto Google and just type in Wordle today answer. Random emoji generator. And then you go into that. There we go. It's the peace sign. You just copy that, return to Minecraft, and just copy the emoji into the console command. Obviously not all emojis are supported, but I'm pretty sure it's still going to work. Then all you need to do is just paste it a lot. Just keep doing it. And then fill it all up. So you can just go Control A, Control Z, Control V. Just keep doing that, keep iterating that, until you realize the cursor is actually blinking at the very end of the console command, until you filled up the whole thing. You can test that out by simply trying to type in normal letters. It's not going to work because it's all filled in. Then press enter. That is all you need to do. Then go out, save and quit, go back into your world, and you'll realize something is going to go terribly wrong. And your game is going to crash. Your world is essentially locked if that chunk is ever loaded, because that chunk has not been saved correctly. So after wiping the chunks from the world, I can reload into it, and it's all flat. Simple explanation here is that this single Unicode character is saved in a different way to your normal characters like the alphabet. It turns out this one takes a bit more memory to save, and when you put that into a command block and fill it all in, it overloads. You can test this out. A normal command block that has regular letters will not call.
kitchen, living room, bedroom, bathroom, and I think this place gets the job done. But if you keep playing, the house should become scary. So we need to make a copy of this house, but scary. I took realistic house materials, which may or may not have been from an asset pack, and lined it up to match each part of the house perfectly. This way, every single thing in the starting house had a corresponding realistic version. So I could delete this chair and replace it with this chair, and in the game, it would happen fast enough that no one would notice. After repeating this process for literally every item in the house, I went in-game to test it, and everything lined up, so we had a scary version of the house. But I felt like it was still missing something. So I added post-processing effects, which made a huge difference to the atmosphere. Also, if you look out the window, there's nothing there. So I added a forest to each house and gave them each their own sky. Even though you never go outside in this game, I loved how it turned out. But more importantly, the inside looked so much better, and this place was actually scary now. I also made a secret room in the basement where I plan on adding some cool stuff later in the video. So now we have a cute and scary version of the same house. Right now, you can switch between the houses all you want, but this won't work. We need to get the player invested in the first house and make them believe this is what the game is about. Then, we can switch them over to this house. I'm thinking if I make the grandma, she can give stuff for the player to do to keep them invested. I made a model which surprisingly wasn't even that bad, and painted on the textures to keep with the art style. After a little bit, we had this. Yeah, she looks nice. I threw her in the game, and not only was she 12 feet tall, she was also way scarier than I wanted. If that was my grandma, I would ask God for a new one. Anyway, when you talk to her, she says,
Hello, darling. I'll make cookies. Why don't you start a fire and watch TV while you wait? I don't care what you do. Just leave me alone, you little shit.
So you light the fire and head down to the basement to watch TV.
I'm gonna attempt to make a horror game in 24 hours.
Yeah, this show sucks. After some time, you find out Grandma burned the cookies like an idiot. So since it stinks so bad, she tells you to go around the house and light candles. And now we can finally start the transition into the scary house. There's 3 candles, and if you light all of them, you get switched over to the realistic house. But the sudden jump from one house to another looked really bad. And we all know that having a seamless transition is super important. So to fix the transition, when you light a candle, the other house will flash in for a second. And on the last candle, the screen fades, so the transition is a lot cleaner. Later, we'll make the grandma realistic and try to kill you when the house changes. So the player needs some way of escaping, but how? Well, I have ideas for 3 different puzzles for the player to solve while running from the grandma, and completing the last one will send you back to the original house. So let's do those now. I want the first puzzle to be getting into the secret basement room I was talking about earlier. Since it was right next to the bookshelf, I decided that pulling on one of the books would open the wall. Original, I know. With some code, I got the wall to move, but it looked really bad. So I tried to make dust particles that fall from the wall to sell this point. And as someone who's never made particles before, what the fuck? But after a tutorial, I got the particles looking okay, and combined with the screen shake, the effects were really subtle, but it helped. But then I realized that the player will never find this random book on a random bookshelf out of this entire house. There needs to be some kind of hint for the player to tell them where to go. How am I gonna tell them about this book? Another book. I added this journal that you can find in your grandma's room, and I thought I could write a poem in here to tell the player where to go. I suck at writing, but I really didn't want to use ChatGPT, so I just used a thesaurus and rhyme zone for like every word, and I made this. Beneath the earth, where darkness lurks, upon a shelf. Yeah, this is cheat. Anyway, when you read the poem and get to the bookshelf, you can finally get to the secret room, and your hard work is rewarded with nothing. Okay, so I'm thinking the second puzzle goes in here, and my idea for this is a safe that you have to find the code for. But if you've got a good eye, you might have noticed that there's nothing here, so we need to make a safe. After what happened last time I tried to model something, I really wasn't sure about this, but I feel like it didn't even turn out that bad. I mean, it's just a box, it's pretty hard to mess that up. We are gonna need to fix these colors though, so I need to buy a texturing software. I'm sure I'll be able to find one for a reasonable price from a virtuous and honest organization. So I textured the safe, and it worked really well and looked good in the game. But now I have to come up with a password to unlock it. I decided the best way to give the player the password was by using more books. There was this TV stand with 4 empty boxes in it, and since the code is going to be 4 digits, I felt like this was the perfect opportunity. So I filled it with books, and by counting them, 1, 3, 1, 2, you can get the code to the safe. And you've successfully earned yourself nothing. I never really thought about what goes in here. By using 100 100% of my brain power, I decided the best thing to put in there was a log. Yes, really. So once you collect the log, you can put it in the fireplace and jump in, which ends the game. But this idea sucks. It doesn't really make sense, the ending sequence looks horrible, and the log just looks like a steaming pile of shit. But most importantly, it would end the game before you even get to the third puzzle. So I decided to put a key in there instead. Now it won't work on the front door, mostly because the outside of the house isn't there. But the inside is there, so I added a new door upstairs. And when you unlock this, so I built an attic and decided this is where I'll put the third and final puzzle. Since the game started with candles, I wanted it to end with candles. So that's what this puzzle is all about. I put 3 picture frames on the wall and a candle underneath each of them. Then I took 3 random screenshots like this one of the kitchen table and put them in the frames. So you're probably wondering how this is a puzzle. Well, you have to find which of these pictures is fake. 2 of these pictures are real places you can go up to and find in the house, like the kitchen table. But one of them is a random corner I made out in the middle of nowhere. Your job is to find out which one is fake. And if you get it right, you go back to the original house and live happily ever after. But if you get it wrong, you die. But we're still not done. 3 minutes and 41 seconds ago, I said, later we'll make the grandma realistic and try to kill you when the house changes. So we still have to make the realistic and scary grandma. I started with this old lady, and first I cut off her legs and threw a cloth on her to make her look like a ghost. But I didn't like this because then we wouldn't get to see her old granny feet. I started over with the same starting point, but this time I made the arms and legs super long and creepy. But now we have 2 problems. 1, she looks like an Enderman, and 2, she's naked. Oh my god! In my other games, I just make the enemy naked, but I don't think I can do that for a grandma. I thought about it though. Are you serious, my brother? I tried using a cloth like from earlier, but that didn't work. Then I tried this sewing thing, but it looked horrible and made my computer want to cry. I just made it by hand instead. And even though I have no experience with this, I eventually created the greatest shirt to have ever been worn. Alright, it wasn't that good, so I added some rips in the shirt to make her look more like a crackhead, and I added pants. Also, she's bald. So I used Blender's hair system, which was actually pretty cool. And after that, the model was finished. Yeah, she looked beautiful.
What would you rate this girl on a scale of 1 through 10?
I look like a lizard.
But the colors make her look like a Simpson, so let's fix that. I started with a couple pre-made textures for the main parts. But honestly, she just looked like a normal grandma who's balding and has poor dental hygiene. So I added dirt, scratches, and whatever this is. And now she looks like she just got run over. Nice. The crash must have left her injured because now she can't move any of her limbs. Okay, but for real, we need to make a walking animation. I'm sure it can't be too hard. Alright, so we're just gonna use this animation, but now she's quick. I didn't want to make this game a running simulator, so instead of making the player faster, I want to add the ability to hide because a lot of other games do that. Luckily, there are already tons of places that will work for that. So I wrote some code and it worked perfectly with absolutely no problems at all. After a completely reasonable amount of time debugging, you could hide under tables, desks, or in boxes. Now the game was more fair, so the only thing left was the jump scare when you get caught. So I added the usual jump scare stuff and played with a couple different animations, like this one. And normally I'd grab a sound effect from YouTube, but this time I want to make one myself. Because I have a point to prove. I think that no matter what it sounds like, it'll work as a jump scare as long as it's loud, even if it's the most random sound ever. So if I take this scream, some white noise, and the Taco Bell, I think it'll work as a jump scare sound. I've never made a sound from scratch like this, but I felt pretty cool turning these knobs. I may not know what they do, but I do know they're turned all the way up. It didn't take long to realize that this was a bad idea. The sounds were completely transformed, but just listen. But screw it, I'm gonna put it in the game anyway and prove that loud equals scary. Well, now the jump scare's done, and it's... I'll make an apology video soon. Okay, maybe I was wrong. So I replaced the sound effect with an actually good one. Then I added a 1 in 1,000 chance where she just punches you instead of jump scaring you, and I still have no idea why I did this. I added a few more minor things to the game, like if you get the code wrong on the safe, it makes a sound that alerts the grandma. I'm gonna keep working on this game, so subscribe to see the update video. And while while you wait, check out this game I made by combining 6 different AIs and making them work.
you.